While you guys are here, I'm gonna enable our chat feature. Typically we have that turned off, but I'm gonna turn that on today. Um, if you guys wanna let me know where you guys are joining from, that would be great. And then I'm just waiting for my colleague here. All right, and we're live on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for joining today. Hello, Darius from Kenya, from Malaysia. Awesome. This is great. Thank you so much. It is a 9 a.m. in Minnesota right now. The weather here is lovely at this time. In August, when you guys join us, the weather is going to be really beautiful. So I'm really excited for that. This is also the first pre-arrival webinar that we're having for fall 26. So I am extremely excited. Just making sure everything is in order. Hi, Doreen. Hi, Maureen from Kenya. Doreen in Iowa. Awesome. That's great. I'm so glad you're here. Our fellow neighbor state. Today we are talking a little bit about, and Yasin from Bangladesh. Okay, so we have a lot of people from around here. It is currently 9 a.m. Central Time in Minnesota. I am really excited that you guys are here. My name is PJ Gurung. I have been kind of the one in communication with you guys in terms of your WhatsApp group, anything to do with I-20, like emails, reminder emails that you get. A lot of my work centers, so I'm the Assistant Director for Strategic Communications and Recruitment at the KIC. I am a former international student, so I did go to school here at MSU for both of my bachelor's and my master's degree. So I've been in Minnesota at this university as a student I was here for that, and then I started working full-time here a little over a year ago. So I've kind of been in Minnesota for a long time. Totally understand the nervousness that comes with studying abroad and moving away from home. So I am really glad you guys are here. If you guys have any questions about my experience as a student, please don't feel free to ask me. And typically at the end of the session, we usually have a little bit of time for Q&A as well. So you can either leave your Q&A in the chat box or the Q&A tab. That's usually the most convenient for me if you guys leave it in the Q&A box, but if you guys want to leave it in the chat, that's totally fine too. Today we're talking about requesting your I-20. Has everybody here requested their I-20 yet? And if you guys haven't, that's totally fine. If you guys just want to leave that in the chat, if you have requested your I-20 already, or if you haven't requested your I-20, just let me know in the chat box while I get our presentation for today kind of situated. Okay, I'm gonna hope you guys can see my screen okay. You already got one? Okay, perfect. You already got yours as well. This kind of helps me understand how much time I should spend on a specific designated area. The biggest thing to remember today is we are going to talk about A, of course, your I-20 request, and B, your visa prep session, what to expect, what to take with you, and if you have any questions specific to your visa interview, I will do my best to answer. And, as someone that went through that visa process, I totally understand how scary it is. I can share a little bit about my experience as well and how my interview went, and I will do my best to give you tips and tricks on how to prepare for yours. But yeah, let's get started. So the picture that you see on the screen right now is the Centennial Student Union. Once you guys are here, you'll get to see the building, go inside, but this is one of our buildings on campus, and this is more like a central student location. This is where a lot of our students, there's like some food stations inside. So we have Taco Bell, Chick-fil-A, and some other food options, and a lot of students will stay in the Centennial Student Union during lunch break, hang out with their friends and such, but that's more on that later. Today we're talking about your I-20 request, how to pay your CVIS I-901 fee, what that is, scheduling your visa interview, and finally preparing for your visa interview. First thing to remember for those of you that haven't requested your I-20 yet, our I-20 deadline the deadline for fall 2026 to request your I-20 is June 1st, 2026. It is already May 22nd as I'm looking at the clock right now. You guys don't have that much time. So if you haven't requested your I-20 yet, you really need to get on that. Only because gathering all of your documents can take some time. So you need to gather your bank documents, your sponsor letter, make sure you have everything kind of recent. So that takes a bit of time. So we really highly encourage you to get started as early as possible so that you can get that in. And if we have additional questions for you, we can send that out and do that within that time frame. But yes, the fall 2026 I-20 deadline is June 1st. So please have that on your radar. In order to request your I-20, you are going to be requesting your I-20 on the KIC portal. Has everyone here already accessed the KIC portal? For those that have already requested their I-20, you guys should have already requested it. But for those that don't know, you will be requesting your I-20 on what we call the KIC portal. Once you are admitted to our university, after a few days, we will send you an invitation link to your MavMail. MavMail is your student email account, and that's the email you will use when you're a student at our university. We request that you check your email, your student email, not your personal email, for the invitation link to the KIC portal. Once you click on that link, it will bring you to what you see on the screen. You will log in with your star ID and password. So you will log in with your campus ID. This is the page that you will come to, and this is what you will say. It'll say, welcome to the Maverick community. This is the I-20 request link. It's very easy to follow. As you can see on the top bar, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You have to kind of go through these entire steps before you're able to submit your I-20 request. What I really love about this tool too is if you haven't uploaded a document, or you need to upload a document, for example, it is not going to let you submit your request. So yes, it's very straightforward, very easy, but again, the biggest thing is you need to give yourself enough time to request your bank documents and your sponsor letter, all of that stuff, so that when you submit your I-20, we have everything and we can get your I-20 as soon as possible as well. Once you have submitted everything, when your I-20 is ready, you will receive an email to your MavMail, aka your student email, that says, hey, your I-20 is ready. And that is how you can download your I-20. Once you have your I-20 and you are ready to schedule your visa appointment, this is what you are going to do. The first thing is to pay your CVIS I-901 fee. The CVIS I-901 fee essentially is what tells the US government that you are interested in the university that you're attending, or like the university that you have your I-20 from. And then once you pay this, you can then schedule your visa appointment and pay your visa fee. This is separate from your visa interview fee. Your CVIS fee essentially tracks your entire progress once you're in the US. So if you have the CVIS I-901 fee, it needs to stay active. But more on that later. The more important thing to know is you have to pay the CVIS I-901 fee before you can schedule your appointment. It is a $350 payment, and it is valid for 12 months. That's great that it's valid for 12 months, because let's say again, this is like, we don't want to think about this scenario, right? But let's say you wanted to come for the fall, but your visa didn't get approved, so you moved to the spring semester. That's still within that 12 months time frame, so you don't have to repay that CVIS I-901 fee because it is valid for 12 months. My hope is all of you are going to get your visa approved. Everything's going to be fine, but just in case something happens, you know that this is valid for 12 months. I do recommend that you have the receipt. So once you pay that $350 payment, make sure you keep the receipt in a safe location. You are going to need it. So just save it to your computer and then also print it out. I think I'm just the type of person that needs to have things kind of printed out as well as on the computer, because you never know. I just always think worst case scenario sometimes. But you are going to want to keep this receipt in a safe location. Pema, don't say that. Okay, I'll say it. I'm going to hope that everything works out, actually. I'm really crossing my fingers that things work out. But the most important thing when you're paying for the CVIS I-901 fee is you see that first question there that says CVIS ID. That is going to be on your I-20. So you're going to want to make sure you put in exactly what's on your I-20. That is going to be very, very important. You don't want any errors on that. Okay, you've paid your CVIS I-901 fee. Now what? Now you schedule your visa interview. Scary stuff, I know. In order to schedule your visa interview, you're going to search for a U.S. embassy or consulate near you. The biggest thing with component that comes with your visa application or your visa interview is the DS-160 form. We're going to talk about the DS-160 form in length, but it is essentially an online non-immigrant visa application. Again, the key word here is non-immigrant. There is a $185 visa fee for that, of course, and if you're going for a second interview, again, you'll have to pay that $185 fee again. So just keep that in mind, but you are going to want to complete the DS-160 form before you go to your application. It does take approximately 90 minutes to complete it. The other thing with the DS-160 form as well is you have to, my tip is to keep saving it. As you're filling it out, save it, because it does time out very fast, very quickly. So that's one thing I do encourage you to make sure that you do, is just to hit save every 5-10 minutes, just to make sure you don't get kicked out and lose progress on everything that you've already filled out. But this is what the DS-160 form looks like, as you can see on the screen. If you haven't gotten to this stage yet, we also have the link on the screen for you. So if you wanted to take a picture of it, that's totally fine as well. But once you come to this apply for a non-immigrant visa tab, you are going to pick you're going to pick the start an application if you haven't filled it out yet. The other thing I did want to also do very quickly, what if you have activated your MavMail and the link was not sent to you? What do you do? That is a great question. If you have not received that yet, I encourage you to, I am putting together a poll for you guys. If you haven't received your link yet, I encourage you to email international@mnsu.edu. Make sure you include your tech ID or a star ID, which helps us kind of know what's going on. And it also helps us kind of check and track that you haven't gotten it yet. Okay. Tips for filling out the DS-160 form. You need to set aside at least 90 minutes to complete the DS-160. ensure that you prepare a photo for the DS-160 before you even begin filling out the application. The DS-160 photo requirements are on the website itself. However, it is very similar to a passport photo, but you do want to make sure you're checking the photo requirements before you go and take a photo so you can give them the exact specifications on what is required for your DS-160. When you have your DS-160 photo, you'll attach it to your application. However, I also encourage you to take a copy, take one of the pictures to your visa interview, just in case the photo didn't upload, your photo, there was an issue with that. We just want to make sure that you're able to have that on hand. I remember when I went for my interview, like my most recent one, they said that the photo didn't match, the photo that I had brought with me didn't match the requirements, so I had to go back out and do that again, and it was a whole process, and I don't want you guys to have to go through that. So just make sure, even though you uploaded your photo to your DS-160, just take a copy with you just in case. When you're filling out the DS-160 form, this is a question we get a lot from students, is the US point of contact information. We have a lot of students reach out and say, hey, I don't know anybody in the US, I don't have any family there, what do I put down? This, what you see on the screen, is exactly what you're going to want to put down if you don't know anybody in the US or you don't have anybody that you can put down. This is completely acceptable and fine. For the contact person, do not put a name there. You might want to put my name down because like we've been talking, but don't do that. Just say do not know. Organization name is going to be Minnesota State University Mankato, of course. Relationship to you, you're going to say school official, and you're going to put down the rest of the information that you see. This helps us because just in case something were to happen and they have a question for us, when they contact our office, because you didn't put down a name, they can talk to any of the staff member in the KIC. Because, for example, if I'm out of the office that day and they're not able to talk to me, we don't want to create situations like that. So just make sure you put do not know, and the rest of it, feel free to take a picture of the screen while you're here. However, just know that this will also be a recorded video that you can watch on YouTube later, so you can absolutely do that as well. The other big thing is you're going to come to this section which says social media. Do you have a social media presence? You're going to want to be sure to list all of your social media accounts truthfully on your DS-160 form. Embassies and consulates are potentially using an automated system to locate your accounts and review your posts. So you're going to want to make sure that you put down everything that you have used within the last 5 years. It's very unlikely that any of you guys here have never used social media. I'm sure you guys are on at least one social media platform. So you're going to want to put down everything here. For example, for Facebook, you could, obviously some people might just put their name, but there might be other people that have the same name as you and they might have a hard time locating you. So for situations like that, I would just put down the entire URL of your profile so that they have that and they can just copy and paste it over. For Instagram, obviously you're just having your username, but for Facebook and stuff like that, where it could be hard to find you, you might want to put like the entire URL of your page. But the biggest advice is be honest and be truthful. Yes. All right, I'm gonna pause here for just a second because I think there was a question. Okay, Jamil, you have a question about assistantships. We can absolutely get to that at the end of the session. What if you have already done that and still not got a response, or are you to write them from your math mail or personal email? It doesn't matter what email you use to contact us at this time. You can either use your personal or math mail, the biggest thing though is to include your star ID or tech ID. When did you email them? Sometimes that kind of helps to know. I do have a quick poll for you guys before we go to the visa section, so let's get that poll done and then move on over to what to take to your visa interview and all of that fun stuff. I know, I'm making you guys work on a webinar. We're just gonna stay here for like 1 minute. Just checking the time. Okay, we have a little bit of time. And no cheating. Just put down what you guys know. Don't Google it. I'm also going to check our YouTube to make sure I haven't missed any questions there while I wait for you guys to answer. Okay, I feel like most of you guys have answered correctly so far, maybe? Okay, 8 more seconds and we're gonna move on. All right, I'm gonna end the poll. Great news is you guys answered correctly. It is a non-immigrant visa type. That's very important when you guys are preparing for your visa because this kind of dictates what your answers should be or should sound like for your visa interview. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I'm going to move on. I am going to move on, reshare my screen. All right. Okay. Preparing for your visa interview. So at this stage, I am going to assume that you guys have already filled out your DS-160. We're at this stage where you've already filled out your DS-160 and you've already paid your visa fee and you've scheduled your appointment. I know we've had a lot of concerns and worries from students about like visa appointments, and what we say is to just keep checking and checking every day, and we're crossing our fingers. But what do you take to your visa interview? You're going to want to take your I-20 printed and signed, your passport, your CVIS I-901 fee receipt, your visa application fee payment receipt. So again, remember the CVIS I-901 fee is a $350 receipt, like the $350 that you paid. So you're going to want to take that receipt with you. Your visa application fee payment is going to be the $185 one. So you're going to want to save that one as well and take it with you. Photo for visa if upload fails on DS-160, or for some reason you might just want to take it with you if you already have it with you. Admission letter from MSU. You guys are here attending this webinar, so I am assuming that 100% of you have already accessed your admissions letter and have it with you. So you're going to want to print that out. Bank statement from your sponsor. So this is going to be the bank statement that you submitted for your I-20, because when you submit your I-20 request, you're going to need bank statements and all of that information. So you're going to want to take that with you. Academic transcripts from your previous study, whether it is your undergraduate study, your high school, what have you. Proof of English proficiency, whether you took Duolingo, IELTS, whatever you have, you're going to want to take a printout of the scores. And finally, documentation of ties to your home country. This one always stumps students, which is understandable because what does that even mean? But we'll expand on that a little bit more. But you are going to want to take some sort of, if you have it, some sort of documentation of ties to your home country. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Here is some other helpful resources for you as well. Argo Visa has some really helpful playlists on their YouTube account that you can look at. The US Department of State also has some helpful information. NAFSA's top 10 visa bullet points to remember is also really helpful. I always share this with students whenever they ask me about their visa interview. It really puts everything together in one space that you can browse, and it's not too wordy either, which is always helpful. Or you can, and the other helpful resource that we do have for you is you can schedule a free visa prep session with one of our current students, current international students. So you'll be practicing your interview questions with a current international student as well, which is free. With that, however, I always tell students that if you sign up for a session, please show up to that session. If for some reason you cannot make it, please email me or our office to let us know that you're not able to attend the visa prep session. This is just so we're respecting everyone's time. If you schedule an 8 a.m. visa prep session with one of our students, they're going to be up and ready at 8 a.m. And so if you don't show up, it kind of wastes their time. So we just want to make sure that if you're signing up for a session, you're showing up for that session. If you are not able to attend that session, you can, I ask that you just let us know and we're all good. And we can kind of go from there. Prepare for your visa interview. So this is the last point that we talked about, documentation of ties to your home countries. Essentially, your F1 visa interview is a non-immigrant visa, which means you are essentially telling the US government that you want to come to the United States to study for a specific program for a specific length of time, and then you're returning home. That is the entire purpose of your F1 visa. And so whenever you're answering questions about that, your answers need to always point to the fact that your intention is to return home after your education is done here. If some of you are planning to do OPT or whatever, that's one thing, but ultimately the biggest thing is it's a non-immigrant visa. You're here to study. That should be your only purpose, and you're returning home. So a reason to return to your home country after you complete your program could be many things. It's also really central to you and your personal life and your personal experiences. For some people, like family might not be one of the reasons they're returning home, but a career opportunity is. Or if they have like friends back home. Before you even go to your interview, you need to know what is your reason to want to return home. What is it? Is it a family business that you're taking over? Are you coming to the US to study a business program and your dad has a business and you want to come back to your dad's business or your mom's business? What is it? So really take your time to think about that. Like take some time out of your day, like 10-15 minutes of alone time, alone space where you're by yourself with a pen and paper and really think, because this is going to be the biggest indicator for a visa officer to know, like, oh yeah, this student just wants to study and wants to come back. Visa officers will typically not ask you about your ties directly. Sometimes they might ask you a question of like, what are your plans after your study? That is a pretty direct question, but if they don't, everything you answer should point to your intent to return. So you need to give concrete examples. You can't be like, well, I don't know what I want to do. That's not an answer. That just tells them that you don't know what you want to do. And so if you don't know what you want to do, what is to say that you're not going to that you're going to return to your home country, right? So you need to identify your ties before the interview is even starting. These are some questions. Again, this isn't all the questions that you're going to get asked. I can't even guarantee that these are the questions that you're going to get asked, but If you prepare answers to this question, you'll kind of have a good sense of what to prepare, how to prepare for it, what to answer. The other important thing is don't memorize your answers. When you memorize your answers, it's really easy to tell. Or if you're asking ChatGPT to get you answers and you're memorizing that, trust me, we can tell when it's a memorized answer or when it's ChatGPT. ChatGPT can be a useful tool, but it's not a useful tool when you're answering questions about your own personal experiences. ChatGPT is also not going to give you an answer that a human will normally use, like a human being uses. The cadence, the words that ChatGPT chooses to use are not words that people use in normal everyday conversations. So when you're thinking about your answer, you need to think about your answer. Like, you need to be authentic to who you are. So some of these questions could be questions that you get asked. Again, I cannot guarantee that, but a lot of the times they're kind of similar-ish. So why do you want to study in the US and at this specific university? Why did you apply to MSU? Is it because you have a friend in the United States? Is it because you have a friend that goes to MSU and they told you to apply? That's a perfectly good answer. Do you like the program here? What program are you doing? Why do you want to do that program? What about that program do you like? Why did you choose MSU for that specific program? Like, start thinking about these questions as I'm bringing it up. It's really important for you to think about that. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you coming to the US? You know, what are your academic goals in the US? Well, you're coming here for a program. Do you know enough about your program that we provide at MSU? I came here as a psychology major. Well, I changed my major a few times, actually. That's a lie. But I came here as a sociology major. I like the faculty member here that taught, that was in the sociology department. I wanted to take some classes with him. Have you done enough research about MSU to know, if I asked you, hey, how many international students are at MSU? Or tell me about what's one building at MSU. This is, obviously they're not going to ask this question, but I'm asking you, do you know, what building, do you know at least one building at MSU? Have you done your research? What facility have you seen? Start thinking about those questions for yourself. Did you apply to any other schools? Answer truthfully. Did you? If you did, that's perfectly okay to say. You can say, yes, I applied to X, Y, and Z schools, but I got an acceptance from MSU and I wanted to come to MSU because of X, Y, and Z reason. What are your plans after you finish school? Great question. What are your plans after you finish school? Are you returning home? That should be your answer. But why are you returning home? What do you want to do after? Really start thinking about that. And I know it's really long term, right? You're going to be in school for at least 4 years. So it's a long ways away, but you need to have some concrete answer to give at your interview. So all of this to tie into what I was talking about earlier is, what is your motivation to return after completing your education? Let me see here. Again, at any point, if you guys have questions, leave it in the Q&A tab or the chat function. I will get to them towards the end. I'm also being cognizant of our time today, so. Okay, preparing for your visa interview. Day of your visa interview, again, you're gonna wanna take all of these documents with you, right? Also, yeah, make sure you take all of this. Also, when you schedule your visa appointment, typically it will also say on that specific things that they might need from you, so make sure you look at that as well. And it's very specific to your consulate, embassy, what's required in one embassy could be one document required at one embassy could be not something that they really require at another embassy. So just make sure you check that as well, just so you have everything with you. Day of your interview, I always tell students, wait, hold on. You know, whenever I share my screen, I don't know if you guys can see me or not, and so I know sometimes you can't see me, but I always tell students to take like a folder like this. This folder has all of my work documents, but something like this is really good because you have everything in one place. You're not allowed to take any, like your bag, laptops, anything into the interview. So once you get to the US, like the embassy, you get in line, you go through security, they make sure to check and make sure you don't have anything you're not supposed to bring with you. You're not allowed to take your phone or your laptops or anything. But also think about it. Do you really need to take your laptop with you? Most of the time, most likely not. So why even take it with you? If for some reason you need to take it, then that's fine. But again, remember, you're not allowed to take it past security. You have to leave everything at security. You're only allowed to take all the documents that you have with you. So something like this is always helpful. And usually what I recommend doing also is marking what everything is. Again, you don't have to do any of this, but I think it's always helpful to be as prepared as you can be. So what I did for my interview is I would take these little sticky tabs and mark which one's like my I-20, where my admissions letter is. So during the interview, if the visa officer is like, hey, show me your admissions letter, oh, it's right here, you know? It's good to be prepared. Sometimes it's okay to also be over-prepared. I share my screen. Okay, you're gonna leave technology like your phone outside the embassy. Honestly, if you can leave it with if you're a family member or friends are going with you, you can also leave it with them. Your interview will be in English. So leading up to the day of your interview, you're gonna wanna prepare, you're gonna wanna practice for your interview. If you're someone that feels really nervous about speaking in English, start early. What I also did for my visa appointment is, because I didn't have anyone to practice my answers with or like think about my answers with, what I did was, like, if, for example, these questions, right, I would just record it on my phone, like a voice recorder, and then listen back to it. That really helped me because I realized that sometimes I was just saying the same thing in 4 different sentences in one answer when it didn't need to be 4 different sentences. So that helps. If you have someone they can practice with and they can give you feedback, active feedback at the same time, that's even better. But in instances where you cannot, you can always record and listen back to yourself. That always helps. The interview will be at a stand-up visa window, so what you see on the screen, it's very similar to like that. Have your documents organized and give them to the consular officer when they ask. Typically, they'll ask you for your passport and your I-20, and then any additional documents that they need after that. Dress for success. Please don't wear like dirty clothes, like go with your hair like in a mess. Make sure you're dressing for success. Don't wear like ripped jeans, crop tops. Dress like you would if you were gonna go see your grandmother or your grandparents, is what I always tell students, because sometimes students are like, well, what do you want me to wear? Do I need to wear a suit? You don't have to wear a suit. Just dress clean and have your hair done and actually look, you know, refreshed. And eat a good meal beforehand. Sometimes you can be at the embassy for hours, like 2-3 hours, because there's such a high volume of people. So you're gonna want to make sure you're eating a good meal beforehand so that you're not hungry. A lot of times they'll let you take like your water bottle through as well, and they will have water fountains around typically. So if you need water, you'll have access to that, but there's no like vending machine for food or anything like that. So make sure you eat a good meal beforehand. When I'm hungry, I can't like think or answer right, so that's me. So if you're someone like that as well, just make sure you're eating a good meal before you go. Even if your appointment is like 8:30 in the morning, before you leave, have something. And finally, after me scaring you for the last 30 minutes, I'm telling you to relax. Visa interviews are typically only 2 to 3 minutes in length. Remember to speak calm, and be concise. And when I say be concise, if they ask you, what program do you want to study in the US? What program is on your I-20? Sociology? Just say sociology, like the program that I'm interested in is sociology. You don't need to go into a whole long tangent about why. If they didn't ask you, don't answer that. Just answer exactly what they ask you. Remember to keep your answer short and to the point. When an answer becomes too long, it's really easy to lose focus, and then I'm not listening at all after that point. All right, and fall 2026 orientation attendance is mandatory. Orientation dates are Monday, August 17th through Friday, August 21st. Let me double check that on my calendar. Yep. You're only allowed to enter the US at least 30 days before your program start date. So the first day you can enter the US is July 17th, 2026. We are so excited to meet you. You'll see the peer mentors in yellow and purple in the photos. Those are our peer mentors. They'll be here to help guide you through the entire orientation week. They'll be here to take you to wherever you need to be that week, and also they're a great resource for you. These are our current international students who are taking time out of their week to be there during orientation to help support you guys into acclimating to the US. And finally, we're so excited to meet you. I know it's only April and orientation isn't until August, but you guys are going to be so surprised at how time flies. Some upcoming webinars. If you haven't checked your email, this should be an email you received in your personal email as well as your math mail. But this is our fall 2026 pre-arrival webinar calendar. This is a downloadable calendar as well, and I've also shared it in our WhatsApp group. So if you have access to that, or if you're already in that WhatsApp group, you'll know that I also shared it with you. But these are some of our upcoming webinars. If you have the calendar, you can look at the full schedule. But we have another visa prep session, a few more visa prep sessions actually. And the reason why we do multiple is you guys are joining now, but there might be students that get accepted later that want to join other ones. But if you guys want to return to another visa prep session with me, absolutely feel free to do so. You can bring back questions and I will do my best to answer. If I don't have the answer, I will talk to somebody in our office and get you some answers. Requesting I-20 and visa prep is also coming up. Understanding tuition and fees, if you're curious about that, and placement testing. More information is also on your KIC portal. And remember, you have to register for these sessions. Upcoming Instagram lives. We have an Instagram live scheduled for this Friday. These are more informal sessions that we do. They're short too. They're like maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes tops. But it's usually me and another student or students that are going live and answering questions for you. So that's another platform as well. You can also follow us on Instagram, KICMNSU, to see what our students are up to. We are very active on our social media accounts, and we do our best to showcase current international student life on campus. So please do follow us. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. It's 9:46. We are right on the top. All right. Milka, you wanted to see the documents? Yes, absolutely. Give me 1 second here. Sorry, I just saw that. All right. This one. Also, I know it says I-20 printed and signed. Please make sure your I-20 is signed by you before you take it to the interview. When you receive it, it's just going to be signed by your DSO or the person that issued your I-20 to you, but there's a section where you need to sign, print and sign, like sign and date it as well. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. All right. The major question the officer focused on was the amount of funding I received from the school. So I'm sure all of you guys are aware, all of our new undergraduate international students receive the International Maverick Scholarship. So that's definitely something that you can mention in terms of funding, because the International Maverick Scholarship is valued at $7,678, which is renewable every year. And that's honestly a big amount of scholarship that you can focus on. If you're someone that is also part of our Global Maverick Access Scholarship recipients, that's going to be an additional scholarship. But the biggest one that you get is the International Maverick Scholarship. So definitely talk about that. That's a big scholarship. And also the fact that I know sometimes students do ask about like full funding. We unfortunately do not provide full funding unless it's like an athletic scholarship or something, which is really competitive. But you do have the International Maverick Scholarship to talk about. I hope that answers your question or kind of gives you an idea. Pema asked, what about the scholarships that international students get? Yeah, so you have the International Maverick Scholarship. So before you come here, that's going to be that, right? And then you have the International Maverick Scholarship. A lot of our students apply for additional scholarships after they're here on campus. At MSU, every February is scholarship month. So the entire month of February, scholarships open up, like hundreds of them. I'm not joking. And those are additional scholarships that our students will apply for once they're here. So you can absolutely talk about that as well. And each scholarship is going to have a different criteria, but a lot of times they're when you get to campus is when you can apply to more. Jamil, yes, I haven't forgotten you yet. I will get to your question. I would like to know if a graduate student has been offered an assistantship. Does the I-20 come automatically from your office, or do you need to go through this lengthy process? So Jamil, this is if I, depending on which graduate assistantship you've applied for, they're all very different departments. We don't have access to them at the KIC just because there's so many graduate assistantships. So we're not aware if an offer has been made to you or not. If an offer has been made to you, you would work with our office to kind of get that reflected on your I-20. Bilia asked, when asked about who will pay the fees, what is the most appropriate answer? Your sponsor. Whoever is your sponsor is going to be the answer you give. And sometimes they may ask you like, well, who's helping you pay your tuition? You can say, well, my mom is helping me pay the tuition and she has a business and she's able to afford it. You don't have to give a long strung out answer unless they ask, but be honest about who your sponsor is. That's the answer you're going to give. Really good questions, guys. Sorry, I'm going to check YouTube if there's anybody that asked any questions. Okay, I think we're good. Any other questions before we end? We are ending on time, I want to say, so that's good. And Jamil, if you have any further questions, and actually, Choosy Theorem, if you have my WhatsApp number, if you want to just text me your WhatsApp number, that would be helpful. I'm going to put my WhatsApp number in the chat just in case some of you guys don't have it. WhatsApp number. I know my WhatsApp number. Do I know my WhatsApp number? I guess I forgot my number, you guys. How does that happen? Okay. 740-2056. Here's my WhatsApp number. Thanks, Gideon. I appreciate that. Choose Ethereum. If you want to send me your star ID and your full name, I can check with our team to see what's going on if you've already answered, or if you've, I just want to check where that is, because if we have sent you an email, I can let you know to check your email. Thanks, Gideon, for sharing that. And if you guys don't have any other questions, I will catch you guys in the next one. Again, our next one is going to be understanding tuition and fees. So if you're curious about that, you guys can join me then. But otherwise, yeah, we have a lot of other important webinars coming up, such as finding housing, traveling to Mankato. Those are very important questions. Registering for classes, what that looks like. Definitely do that. Pema, how can we browse about the professors of our majors? There's nothing on the site or I missed something. So that is a great question. What I would honestly do is, hold on, let me share my screen so I can tell you guys what I'm talking about. And this is important if you are like, you know, thinking about your answers or doing more research on your program. I just put on MSU Psychology. This is our psychology program. What I would do after I get here, not the academic catalog, here. This is our psychology department. Faculty and staff. And you can see who the faculty members are in psychology program. And you can also see what their specializations are. For me, when I decided to switch to psychology, this was pretty important because I wanted to see what everybody was up to. So I can go to theirs and I can see that their areas of interest, what they teach, and all of their publications and presentations. If you're someone that wants to go to grad school or do a PhD eventually, this is probably going to be very interesting to you to kind of see and research. So I hope that helps. All right, I hope that helps. Again, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you guys being here. And thank you, Michelle. It's really sweet. I appreciate you joining and taking your time. I'm sure it's pretty late for a lot of you guys. So I really appreciate you guys joining. And again, feel free to join us on Instagram too. That's where we can have a lot more of an informal conversation too. Our webinars are pretty structured, but there's a lot of time with the Instagram lives to be more have like a conversation so that we can all get to know each other. But I hope to see you guys on campus soon. I am so excited and I have my fingers crossed. Please do keep me posted on your visa if you have an appointment coming up, whatever happens. You have my WhatsApp number, so just let me know. And if you guys have any other questions, I can always help as well. Okay, we do have a question from Yassine about the Global Maverick Access Scholarship. I am an admitted international student from, this is the last question I'm going to get to before I end. I am an admitted international student from Bangladesh and I recently came across the Global Maverick Access Scholarship application. While reviewing the eligibility criteria, I noticed South Asia is mentioned, however, Bangladesh is not listed. So, that is a great question. Our Global Maverick Access Scholarship is for students from underrepresented countries. So if you do not see Bangladesh on the list, it likely means that we have students from Bangladesh on campus. And so that is not our target region. We have that open for students from countries where we might not have students from those countries at all, which is why you don't see Bangladesh on there. Bangladesh Student Organization is a very big and active organization on campus, so I'm really excited for you guys to meet them. I hope that answers, and I really have to go, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, be safe, take care, bye!